This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Hey everybody, this is Tim, former GameStop employee. My name is Dane. This is episode number 195. We've done 195 of these, Tim. Can you believe it?
Jinx. Because I was going to say the same thing. No, I cannot believe it. It feels like we just did our 100th episode, and here we are close to 200, just 5 away.
It feels like we just started the podcast yesterday. Yeah.
You know what? You're not wrong. Even though we've been doing it, I think in April 2012, so we're going on 8 years next month. It's crazy to think about that. But it's felt like a while since our last episode, though.
Yeah, because somebody had to cancel our recording session for this podcast because
I had to leave the planet.
Yeah. He was doing something 10 times better than doing a podcast.
Come on, Dave. Nothing on this planet compares to podcasts with you on Saturday afternoons.
Oh,
you know better than that.
Tim. Thank you, Tim. Except what you did. So why don't you tell everybody what you did?
So I finally made my way onto the planet Batu at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim. After it's going to be a year pretty soon since it opened, but I held off on going because I knew the whole section wasn't completed yet. They haven't put the Rise of the Resistance ride in there when it first opened. Plus, I wanted to go with fellow Star Wars fans who I knew would appreciate it and experience it for the first time, just like me. So, because I knew if I went earlier, it just would have been by myself, and would have been cool, but not nearly as fun with going with fellow Star Wars fans. So I wanted to make sure we did that. So I went with my fellow Star Wars The Saga Continues podcast hosts, Kyle and Paul, and a couple of other friends of ours, Justin Bolger and Sean Gerber. And that Friday, we went to Galaxy's Edge, and Paul and Kyle stayed with me the entire weekend, which is why I couldn't record that Saturday. I guess we could have done a four-way Bat-Fans podcast for the first time with 3 of us in here. But
yeah, I really have to ask you, Tim. How much was it to get in to Disneyland?
Well, they just raised the prices, but I think what it was before, it was like around 120, and now I think it's like 160.
Wow. Okay.
To get in, so they keep raising the prices, but the crowds still go. But they're having actually a Southern California's deal going on. I think for 3 nights for $69 a night, or for a day for Southern California residents, which is a great deal.
Yeah, if you're a resident of Southern California, so you could technically go again for $69.99 or whatever it is, but everybody else you went with has to pay $160.
Pays to be in Southern California sometimes.
I guess so. Great weather. No humidity. Yeah, sounds good. Um, you know, when you said you were going to Galaxy's Edge, I was I was just thinking, they should do a Star Wars themed hotel.
Have you
Instead
not
of a
heard about
Disney.
that yet?
Oh, there is going to be
There
one.
is going to be one, yes,
Okay.
in Florida by Disney World. They're going to make a
Florida.
Star Wars themed resort where it's going to be full on immersive, where they're going to give you your own clothes to fit in the Star Wars universe. It's going to be like you're in a cruise ship out in space. So they'll have these monitors posing as windows so you can see out in space. It's going to be the full blown, like you're in a Star Wars resort ship. And
Okay.
that's going to be pretty expensive. I think it's a
And
couple of grand
oh
for a
wow.
few nights.
And how and what is your room going to look like? Is it going to be Star Wars themed? Is it going to like have, is it going to look like the cantina or something?
There'll probably be a section like that, but your
Yeah.
room or cabin's going to be, like a space cabin, so to speak. That's
Oh,
that you see in other Star Wars ships. So nothing too out of the ordinary for Star Wars decorations or decor, I should say.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess you're spending a couple $1,000
See,
plus.
that might be a ways off. Not sure when exactly that's going to happen. Maybe it's probably going to be a few years when that opens. I think it's going to open later this year, but it might be a while till I go there. It looks pretty cool though.
Yeah.
But I'd be plenty content with Galaxy's Edge because Galaxy's Edge was amazing.
So what you you go into Disneyland and then you go into the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge section, right?
Mhm.
And where do you go from there?
So I like how you enter it because it's a little bit past Frontierland after the Thunder Mountain Railroad ride, and there's this entryway that's like you're going through this underground cave, so to speak. It's like a rocky terrain, and you're walking through it. And as you're going through it, there's playing this music that has a very Star Wars John Williams feel to it, very atmospheric that just gets you really pumped and excited to make you feel like you're entering a Star Wars planet. And I had that feeling. And as soon as you walk in, you just see the buildings, the architecture that just feels so Star Wars. And I just had a big smile on my face as I entered that. And so the first thing you see, I believe, is a droid workshop. And then you can make left. You go, that would be the best way to go toward the Falcon, which is the first place that we went to. And seeing the Falcon up and close was incredible. I wasn't expecting to be as blown away as seeing the Falcon in person as I was. I mean, I was looking forward to it. It was going to be cool to take pictures, but actually standing there and seeing it right in front of you was an incredible feeling, and it was awesome. It was just so cool. So yeah, this right away, it had an immediate effect that this is awesome. And just the whole experience walking around there, it really felt like Star Wars. Besides seeing people wearing normal clothes that are there with you in t-shirts and stuff, but buildings and everything and the feel of it was just really cool. And there's this one section called the Black Spire Outpost, which is like this street, this market street. That was the place that really felt like, you're in a Star Wars location. Just the vibe and the way the shops look and how everything's set up. It just was really cool. You could imagine. One thing I wish they had was more maybe alien creatures, people in costumes walking around just to really give it that extra feel. You occasionally saw some stormtroopers, a Kylo Ren, Chewie, and a Rey walking around, but they're kind of few and far between. It would just been cool if every section just had a couple of people in alien costumes walking around just to really sell that you're on a Star Wars planet. But other than that, it really, for me anyway, did its job is immersing you into a Star Wars planet. But
Yeah.
the biggest things, of course, are the rides. And the first one we did was Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon ride. And that one, I heard mixed things on it. People say, hey, it's really not that great. It's basically doing a video game like Star Tours. But the first time I went on it, there's 6 people who can go on it. You could 2 pilots, 2 gunners, and 2 engineers as you're in the cockpit of the Falcon. And at first, I wanted to just be the gunner because I just wanted to experience the whole ride without having to worry about flying and crashing into things. And it was fun. I liked it. It was better than I thought it would be, or better than what people thought or were saying it was being a little disappointment. I definitely didn't think it was a disappointment. But I will say, the next time we went on it, where I actually got to fly it, it took it to a whole nother level. That was a whole lot of fun. Getting to be in the actual cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and flying it. It was a blast. It was just something about seeing those controls in front of you and you're steering it. Just a little thing. I didn't get to do it. The person in the Chewie's co-pilot chair gets to do it, but just seeing it where it tells you to go into hyperspace and there's that switch, you pull a switch and you immediately go to hyperspace. There's just something real cool about doing that and seeing that in action as you're in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. I loved that ride. It was just really, really cool. And, I don't know what people were looking for maybe, but I wasn't disappointed with it at all.
So it's pretty much an interactive ride.
Yeah. But you're in the Falcon. I mean,
yeah.
So it makes it so cool.
Yeah,
they just did a great job of making you feel like you're in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. It was almost as cool as seeing the exterior of the Falcon outside the ride. Just being in there just has that really cool feeling that you would expect to have as a diehard Star Wars fan.
Are there Star Wars themed restaurants?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one we mainly ate at, I forget the name of it, but it was one that sold the Ronto wraps and the Ronto roots. If you don't know, the Rontos is a big monster or creature you see once they enter Mos Eisley in the A New Hope Special Edition. And you see that guy on the speeder swerve away from that big creature the Jawas are riding and they fall off it. That's a Ronto. And I got a Ronto wrap. And it was delicious. I really liked it. It was pretty much like a hot dog wrapped in a pita wrap, but with some flavoring and stuff to make it taste a little different and good. I enjoyed it. But the biggest,
I thought it would have been like a taco, like a soft shell taco.
Yeah, they could have easily done that, but they decided to go with the pork route. But the best food or beverage item to get there is something called the Meluron juice. And if you're familiar with Star Wars Rebels, there was the third episode where Ezra and Zeb had to go on an errand and get Meluron fruit. And, it's such a fun little episode. It's not the greatest one out there, but I think I'll forever be thankful for it now that it gave us this amazing fruit drink that you can only get at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We all kind of got addicted to it, just kind of to go back for more and more. But that was the best food or beverage item you can get there. It was really, really good and refreshing. Better than the blue milk. Kyle got the blue milk. You let us have a taste of it. Yeah. It was good, but it's probably something I'd only have in small portions of. So
it's just literally blue milk.
Yeah, it's like rice milk is what the one they use, and there's a nice taste to it, but it's not refreshing. Not like the Meluron juice, where it's a hot day, you want something refreshing. I don't think blue milk is going to do the job. The Meluron juice will. So that's what you got to go.
They should have made it into a milkshake.
Yeah, just a standard milkshake with blue flavoring in there, or blue coloring, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been all for that.
Okay, so after you do all that and you spent $285 on food,
pretty much.
What did you guys do after that?
So I got to talk about the other ride in Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance, because that is freaking amazing. That's easily the best ride they got at Disneyland. It was incredible, and it was an ordeal just to get on it, really, because you're not guaranteed to get on it. The way it is, you have to register on the app to get a boarding pass right when the park opens, and it fills up within minutes. So we got there a little early before the park opens, make sure we had all our apps ready to sign up and get in the boarding party. And thankfully we got in. And then once you sign up, it gives you a number, like your boarding group. We were number 39, so we had to wait till that number came up and you get a notification and you'd be able to check the progress. There's these status bars that would fill up to let you know you're closer. So we got to do that around 2:00 in the afternoon, and it just blew my mind, man. I heard great things about it, but it surpassed expectations because it's not just a ride. It's a whole experience where it lasts pretty much 18 to 20 minutes. It was just beyond cool. And I'm going to throw a spoiler tag out there just in case anyone listening wants to hold off on knowing what it is until they experience it, which I totally understand. That's how I was. And I'm glad I was, because there's some great things that blew me away by watching it. But so the spoiler tag is out there. But the way it begins is you're in a group. You get a message from Ray. You see BB-8 and Poe on a monitor telling they're going to get us resistance recruits off Batu because the First Order discovered the resistance is there. So you're in a room as you're done waiting in line. The doors open, and immediately I'm blown away by just seeing how there's a life-size transport straight out of Star Wars that we're going to walk into. Oh, and there's Poe's black X-Wing that we see BB-8 in. It was just seeing the up close was incredible. So we go on the transport, and that's like a little Star Tours ride where you're just standing, and there's these monitors, of course, that makes you feel like you're watching outer space. There's a Mon Calamari animatronic there who's your pilot, which was cool. So there's a front section and a back section. We were more towards the back, so we were seeing the action play out from behind, where you see these X-Wings escorting you, and then the TIE fighters start attacking.
Hey, Tim, so they're pretty much just playing videos on screens?
For this section.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's still such a cool effect. So
yeah,
we're the transport, we're getting attacked, then you get sucked in by a tractor beam from a First Order Star Destroyer. Now, I don't know how they do this. I'm sure there's a way that makes sense, but I couldn't figure out because I'm just so immersed with the ride. So you're on the transport. It feels like a Star Tour ride. You're just motion, you're getting hit. But once the doors open, because when we entered in the transport, we were outside. We saw the sky, daylight, everything. But once we get sucked into the tractor beam, the doors open again, and we're on board as First Order Star Destroyer. We're in an interior that looks incredible as far as looking just like you're inside a Star Destroyer. Because the doors open, a cast member dressed as a First Order officer comes in, escorting you to your holding cells. But when your transport doors open, you see a bunch of animatronic stormtroopers that look really awesome. I was just, wow, like what's happening right now? This is amazing. I was conflicted of taking it all in and grabbing my phone and take pictures of everything. It was just really cool of how they did that, from seamlessly transitioning you from outside, going in on board a transport, going to space, and now you're in a Star Destroyer. It was just seamless how they pulled it off. And this is the next section where you're kind of waiting in line a little bit, and as you're in the First Order Star Destroyer, and they're going to bring you to your holding cell. But once you do, there's this really cool part where they put you in a holding cell, then you see a video monitor of Kylo Ren and General Hux telling you they're going to be interrogated, but they move away. And then as you're about to get on the actual portion of the ride, there's this cool effect where the wall is being broken into, where you see like a burn marks coming through it as someone is burning through the wall, and they're going to rescue you. And that's where the Resistance pilots or Resistance members, cast members, people who are trying to get you on the ride, get your count, they're actually doing a good job of playing the part as being Resistance members who are rescuing you from your holding cell or boarding you on your transport to make your escape. It was a really cool effect as far as, making it where you're getting on the ride, but yet they're battling it as a rescue and making sure you still feel like you're in the story. So this is where the big portion of the ride kicks in, where you're on these transports. There's this droid as your pilot on these transports. It's kind of like I compare it to Indiana Jones, the ride, but it's not as bumpy. And of course, you're not in a Jeep, but the seating arrangement is kind of like that. And so then you just make your way through a Star Destroyer, and your mind gets blown by every turn because you're seeing animatronic stormtroopers firing at you. And the first big wow moment of this portion is life-size Imperial walkers staring down at you. And as soon as you see that for the first time, you're like, what? Like mouth hit the floor. It was incredible seeing that up close in person, life-size walkers. It was wow.
Still on the TV screen, the LED screen.
This is not an LED screen, not this part. No.
So this is like they built a giant walker.
Yes, 2 of them.
Okay. Wow.
It looked so impressive. It was awesome. And then there's a part where you're going on an elevator. It looks like they're going to fire at you. And that's like laser fires going over your head as you're making through the ride. And then this is where you see actual animatronics of Kylo Ren and General Hux, which looked really good. And Kylo Ren's using the Force on you to pull your ride vehicle to him. There's this part where you make your escape and you're in this dark room and his lightsaber comes on the ceiling to try to make his way to you. It's just all cool little stuff like that. But then the biggest part that blew me away is where you're entering this room where it's a mixture of cool life-size built animatronics and the visual screens, because you enter this cannon room where you see these big cannons of a Star Destroyer firing outside to the space battle. And that was just amazing because the cannons are really there. They're firing and you're going under them. And then you look to the right of you. This is just, TV monitors or screens, but the effect on it was not lost. It felt like you were really passing through a space battle and seeing the carnage going outside of your Star Destroyer, seeing the Rebel or the Resistance fight the First Order as you're looking the cannons firing on them. It was straight out of that moment in Revenge of the Sith, and it was amazing. I was like, this ride keeps getting better and better. And then it ends where you make your way to an escape pod, and you go in, there's a little drop, and then it goes full-blown Star Tours mode, where there's a screen. You're just watching a screen, but it just feels so immersive. Like you're actually making your way through this massive space battle, flying through TIE fighters and X-Wings, avoiding crashing through ships, and making your way back to the planet. It was just so seamless and just so amazing how they pulled it off, even though it's just a visual screen that you're looking at, but it did not feel that way as you're riding through it. And you just make your way back to the planet, and that's the end of the ride. But man, you put it all together, it was just an amazing Star Wars experience that the best Star Wars experience you can hope to have. It was incredible as far as really making you feel like you're inside a Star Wars story for about 20 minutes. We were all blown away by it after we rode it, and we wanted to ride it again, but you can't. You can only get one boarding pass for the whole day. So, but that's something you got to try to do if you go to Galaxy's Edge. It's a little pain to try to get a boarding pass, but if you're able to get one, it's going to be worth it. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought it was just like, okay, now you get on the thing, and then takes you up, and you go around, and then, oh, look, there's Han Solo over there.
Mm-hmm.
That is just something like that. I didn't know it was a whole interactive, what do you call it? Interactive experience. I thought it was, just more like your standard Disney or Universal Studios or whatever, where it's just like you just get on the thing and then, you just sort of go around. I had no idea. I kind of want to see it now.
I know. I mean, there's YouTube videos of it that show the whole ride, and it's cool to see, but they don't do it justice as far as being actually there and experiencing it. It's on a whole nother level, and it surpassed expectations, really. I heard great things about it, but this experience, that there's nothing like it. It was incredible. We just had such a buzz after riding that. It was amazing.
So it's kind of like, I don't know what ride would be comparable to that.
At least for the ride, I haven't been on many rides because I usually just go to Disneyland, but I don't think there's anything you can compare it to. It was that
the Jaws ride at Universal Studios, but 10
a little more advanced than that.
Yeah. Well, that's good. At least you got to experience it as a Star Wars fan, with other Star Wars fans. You didn't go by yourself.
Yeah. That's what made it great. It really did. You got to go with fellow Star Wars fans and just be blown away together. Experience it for the first time. It was so much fun.
It'll cost you, but definitely worth it. Then
to me, it's definitely worth it. Yes.
Okay, good. We've had this time off, and I'm gonna say something, Tim, that's gonna make you mad as a Star Wars fan.
Oh no! Uh-oh.
Yeah. I just have to come up with it and say it. I think The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars film.
That's not going to make me mad.
Why? I know a lot of you Star Wars fans don't really like Rian Johnson or The Last Jedi, but I think it's the best Star Wars film.
And I'll totally respect that. See, I just like it when there's a variety. We got so many movies now, and I always like it when I hear different fans say different movies that are their favorite. I just think that speaks to how well Star Wars is overall as a film franchise and as a saga, that you could pick so many different movies as your favorite. And whether it's Empire Strikes Back, which is highly regarded as the greatest Star Wars movie ever, Last Jedi, which has split fandom in their reactions to it, or Phantom Menace, that had such a negative reaction when it first came out. But I know people who say Phantom Menace are their favorite, and I love hearing that. So I'll never begrudge or be mad at anyone for choosing a particular Star Wars movie as their favorite.
Yeah. Also, if I had to pick one favorite scene, I'd probably say all of the scenes on the Forest Moon of Endor. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Return of the Jedi was the the Star Wars movie I've seen the most, especially when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
But yeah, all the scenes in the forest on the Forest Moon of Endor. I don't know why. I mean, I know they're just in California, but
I can understand that.
Yeah.
And it's just that whole Ewok battle versus the Empire still bugs me.
Yeah. Well, the Ewoks.
I love it, and still irritates me at the same time.
The Ewoks aren't as cute and fluffy as you think.
No,
they're extremely deadly creatures.
Especially in Star Wars Battlefront too.
Yeah.
When you could play them, there's that whole Ewok hunt mode, which makes them these deadly nocturnal predator creatures. You gotta be on the lookout for.
But yeah. Anyway, I guess we can move on to our Dark Knight Rises minute by minute commentary.
Yes.
If you don't have anything else to say, which I think you do, about Galaxy's Edge.
There's a lot to discuss in that, and we actually broke our experience down on the latest Star Wars Saga Continues episode, which by the time you're listening to this should be out, but as we're recording this, it's not out yet. So
yeah,
you should probably be check it out by the time you're listening to this episode, where we go into full detail, pretty much the whole episode, talking about the experience of Galaxy's Edge. So
yeah, it's 19 hours.
Just about.
and that was just the guys meeting up before they even got into Disneyland. The
funny thing is, we probably could have.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get into our Dark Knight Rises minute by minute commentary. So, for this episode, we're going from minute, or the 2 hour and 23 minute mark to the 2 hour, 24 minute mark. So grab your Blu-ray, grab your DVD, grab your HD DVD, grab your beta tape, grab your Laserdisc. Am I missing anything, Tim?
I think you got all the old physical media stuff.
Yeah. Okay, grab your Netflix physical subscription membership card, your Blockbuster membership card, your projector, and our favorite, Tim. The way it was meant to be seen. This movie, Interstellar, Dunkirk, this new Tenet movie coming out, and
all the Chris Nolan filmography should be released on this format.
Especially when he uses the IMAX camera. Grab your VHS to DVD converted copy of The Dark Knight Rises. And I'm going to give the countdown. So, Tim, are you ready?
I am good to go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, hit play.
As the tumblers raced away to Gotham. And
do you think Saks Fifth Avenue paid for promotion in this movie? I don't know if you saw that building.
I didn't see it, but if it was that quick, probably not.
Yeah.
Just an added little bonus, I guess, if anyone saw that. They got some small free publicity there. And I remember, I think we saw this before, but those set videos of seeing multiple tumblers out on the street and wondering what that could mean. It definitely added up to a pretty cool sequence, which we're not quite up to yet, but seeing multiple tumblers in action against the Bat, which I'm sure we'll talk about more once we get there. But we got a little glimpse of it of seeing multiple tumblers chase down the truck with the bomb in there. Oh, here we go.
If I'm remembering correctly, they filmed this kind of early on, right?
I think so, yeah, because those are some of the earlier set photos that we saw.
Yeah.
As John Blake just barely missed getting shot in the leg.
That's not a smart thing to do, John Blake.
But will he make it out or make his way across the bridge? We'll have to wait till our next episode to find out.
I don't know. And we don't know what happens to him at the end of this movie, Tim.
Nope. So we gotta say spoiler free for at least another week, 2 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know how we're gonna do it, Tim.
It's going to be tough since there's really no other Batman movie news or production going on
No way.
right
No
now.
way. Who's Robert Pattinson?
The vampire, right?
Oh, the vampire guy, right? Yeah, I totally forgot. But yeah. Anyway, that was our featured our minute by minute commentary. Now we can get into our featured topic, which is, of course, the Batman movie, I guess you could say. We saw the new Batsuit, and we saw the new Batmobile, which is a totally different approach to the Batmobile. I'd say even different from the 1966 Batmobile.
I'd agree. It's totally its own thing.
Yeah.
There's I think no doubt about it.
As far
as the films go.
Yeah, right. I don't think Batman will be as or he's not sneaking anywhere in the Batmobile, because that thing has a really big engine. It's outside of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you haven't seen the picture, go see the picture. It's pretty much a American muscle car with a big engine on the back of it. Looks like they're going really stripped down, really he
really
just
basic.
found this. Yeah. So I love it. I think it's a really interesting and good change from what we've seen. We've seen, you just said it, the Tumbler as a tank. We've seen the Batmobile as a tank. We've seen that whatever they were doing in Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, Batmobiles, and then we've seen, the Batman Returns and the Batman '89 Batmobile, which is I'd say for me the classic look of the Batmobile.
I'd say the gold standard when it comes to Batmobiles.
Sure, gold standard, right? And then of course we've seen the ragtop Adam West 1966 Batmobile, which is essentially just a car, right? It's a big bodied car. But this is more like I don't want to say hot rod, but just like a classic car.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. He's not going to get a lot of protection in it. Doesn't look like there's a lot of room in there, but I really like the switch, from the tank or whatever it was that they were trying to do in Batman versus Superman.
Kind of like a mixture of both, like half a tank, half a car.
Yeah, I guess. But I really like the change in this new Batmobile.
Yeah, I'm digging it. It's not going to go down as my all-time favorite Batmobile. That will forever be the '89 one, like I've said multiple times. But like you said, Dane, I do like the fact that they're going back to it being more like a car. I would expect it to be this simplistic, but I think there's something cool about that. And as I've said, how this is something totally unique for a Batman film for the Batmobile to look like that. It's definitely not the case in comics, where there's been multiple versions of Batmobiles in the comics where it almost just looks like a straight up car with a few little altercations on it that make it feel like a bat or has a bat design to it. And that's the case with this one, where it's mainly in the back of the car where it feels like, has a little bit of a bat aesthetic to it. But I can't wait to see this thing in action and to see what kind of sequence we're going to get, because like you said, it's not going to be something that we've seen in the more recent movies with the Dark Knight trilogy or Batman versus Superman, where we just see this overpowered tank vehicle just mowing down other vehicles, making damage to the highways and streets. We might be getting some cool race sequences, not necessarily race sequences, maybe chase sequences with a more agile Batmobile that, has to be careful as he's driving it, where it could probably take some damage. And it just, to me, it's really cool that this is kind of the vibe they're going for this version of Batman, or the Batmobile, but just in Batman in general, how it's definitely not an origin story, but I think the reports we're hearing it's about like a second year as Batman. So it's still kind of the beginning of his career, where I guess he's still making his way and trying to put things together, so to speak, as far as his gear and his vehicles, where it's not going to be all souped out and just overpowering like we've seen Batman's technology and vehicles can be, which should be kind of cool to see. But yeah, I'm digging it. But to go back, let's go back a little bit to the actual costume reveal, the first one we got.
Sure.
So when this happened, this is like once I saw, I was like, oh man, kind of bummed we're not recording at our normal schedule just to talk about the suit. But it was, I don't know, it was I had mixed feelings initially when it came out. It was a cool reveal. I like how Matt Reeves did it, where he just sent out this like minute video of test footage of Robert Pattinson in the Batsuit. We got this cool new theme. I think it's going to be the new theme for the movie by Michael Giacchino. I've heard people compare it to the Imperial March, which I didn't hear at first, but when someone brought that to my attention, yeah, I can hear it a little bit, but it's still pretty cool. But just getting the slow reveal of the costume, we're seeing the armor, we're seeing the Bat logo, and then it's slowly making its way to actually seeing the cowl and Robert Pattinson's face in the Batman cowl. And when I saw that, I was like, I don't know how to really judge it just yet, because they're missing one of the most important aspects of the cowl, the ears, which is really going to give you the defining aspect of Batman's cowl, and depending on the length, the design, the shape of it, to see how you're going to react to a new Batman costume. And since we didn't get that, I couldn't make full judgment on it yet. So I was kind of thinking, I obviously don't hate it. I think there's some cool aspects to it, because the bodysuit and the armor looks like they're really going for kind of an Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, if I could just say the Arkham games might have been easier, type of vibe to it, which I think would be cool. Though I will say straight off the bat, it's not going to compare it to Ben Affleck's Batman costume, which to me was perfect in look and design and color scheme. So they're obviously going for something different. But when I saw that first reveal, I didn't love it because I couldn't make full judgment, because I didn't know how the cape or the cowl was going to look with the ears. And just seeing how Robert Pattinson's face was going to be inside the cowl, it made me think, well, this is going to be kind of a more leaner or thinner type version of Batman. And I got to wait to see how it really looks, where we're seeing not only full motion, but just full body images of him actually in the suit. So I was kind of reserving judgment. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, but I thought it was a cool way to reveal it, and couldn't wait to see more. And my first thought when we didn't get the ear reveal in that video, I thought maybe they're going to, because the way, I don't know, the way his face was and the shape of the cowl, it made me think that they could possibly go in like the real classic, like the first design look of Batman in those first issues by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, where he had the long ears that are kind of more turned to the side, so to speak, not just straight up, a little curved. And I always like that early look of Batman. I think that could be something cool to see on screen. But it turns out that's not going to be the case, as we eventually did get our best look at Robert Pattinson in the Bat costume a little bit later. But what was your immediate reaction, Dave, when you saw this video?
I liked it. I know what people are saying about like the new Batman theme sounding like the Imperial March, because that was my first impression too. It kind of does sound like it, but
yeah.
I really love this Batsuit. It doesn't look like it's been molded, it's been made.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been found, which is, going back to the Batmobile.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the theme they're going for. They're not going for Bruce Wayne's a billionaire, so he made this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got it from China. You remember in The Dark Knight when they're doing the Batman Begins, when they're doing the tests on the different cowl materials?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't do that for this Batsuit. Maybe it was just, it was found, right? That was my first impression of it, where it looks really industrial. It looks like something that was created for, I don't know, like a welder or something. So, somebody that does a physical job, rather than this was made, in a factory by a billionaire. And, it's rough around the edges. It doesn't fit them right, especially when I was looking at the images that people were taking and lighting it up a little bit, because that video is really dark.
Yeah, that was another reason why I couldn't form a real opinion on it just yet because of the dark lighting and the red color scheme to the video, which you really couldn't get a good feel of just how exactly the suit will look.
I mean, it's a great aesthetic, the red and the black, but especially when I saw the pictures of that people had screenshotted or whatever, it doesn't fit right. It doesn't look right. We didn't see the ears, but I would assume that it would be the short ears on this one. Sorry, Tim.
I was still holding out hope,
but yeah, that was the impression that I got, and I really like that look. It's not that big, bulky Ben Affleck look, or even the Christian Bale look. This looks like it's skin tight, and Robert Pattinson is really skinny. But I really like the rough around the edges sort of aesthetic about it. Like how I was saying, it looks industrial. It doesn't fit him right. I really like that because we haven't really seen that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Batsuit has always been something that was made by a billionaire, and this is something kind of different from what we've seen so far. But yeah, I really like the look of it. I know some people are a little shaky. It reminds me. I mean, they're going old school with this. They're going back to like the original Detective Comic stories with the look. It seems like, rather than something current day. So I really like the new Batsuit.
You make up or bring up an interesting point about maybe the suit or the material of it, something that was found and not built by a billionaire, and that makes me think, because it does have that feel. I agree, and it makes me think, is part of the story going to be where this Bruce Wayne is not using his wealth to fund his crusade as Batman, where he's trying to do it kind of just from the ground up in himself without relying on his resources? Because that would be interesting. Maybe he feels he doesn't want to use his parents' wealth for that, or maybe this will be a version where Bruce Wayne doesn't have access to that wealth for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be some plot aspect to where Bruce isn't using his money to fund everything that he uses for Batman. That would definitely be an interesting way to go, and would make sense to why his suit and the Batmobile look like the way they do.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like that. It seems like, you can put money into this, Bruce. I mean, you don't have to just find this stuff. But yeah, it doesn't look clean. It doesn't look slick. So yeah, that was my first impressions of the Batsuit. I really love the new Batsuit, especially the new Bat logo. I know a lot of people are saying that it's the gun. Right?
Yeah.
So
but it's it'd be interesting if that's the way they go.
Yeah.
But because we're talking about, there's that great story in Detective Comics 1000 where that Kevin Smith wrote, that he used the gun, or bought the gun that killed his parents, and used it as for the material as the shield, the yellow shield that he uses as the logo on his suit as a protection for the gun that killed his parents, will now be used to protect himself, which was a cool aspect. I wonder if there's going to be something like that, or just fun fan speculation that that was the case. But it's interesting that the logo, there's no ears on the Bat logo for his suit. It just looks like two bat wings. But it still holds off and looks really cool.
Yeah. One thing I really want to see is the cape. I know we got a little bit of that in the Batmobile pictures, but I kind of really want to see what they do with the cape. Is it going to be something, elegant and flowing, or is it just going to be like the aesthetic that we've already seen? Is it just going to be like a tarp that Bruce Wayne found or something?
Yeah. And speaking of those new photos, or actually first, I take it you saw the leaked set photos that came out of giving us our best.
No, I did not.
You did not.
I refuse to see those.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm proud of you, Dane.
I know. I've seen numerous articles on, look at this, look at what we saw during the filming of Batman, but I said no. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't go into full detail on it, but they actually came out as we were waiting in line for the Smuggler's Run ride at Galaxy's Edge. It's like, oh, this shots of the Batsuit. Yeah. And it gave us a good look at the ears. And I will say I'm actually kind of happy with the ear length. And you kind of see that in the official release photos of the Batmobile. But to me, they're not as long as I like them, which is the Keaton suit length, but not as short as Ben Affleck's was. It's kind of in between there, and I think it looks pretty cool. But
yeah,
one thing I will say about those set photos, where I was saying how Robert Pattinson kind of looks like a more leaner or thinner Batman, I don't think that's going to be the case. He definitely looks bulked up in these set photos, where as Batman should. So I won't go any further details than that, but definitely gave you a better look. But
okay.
Going back to what you were saying with the cape in the one shot with the Batmobile, that's just such an amazing shot where it's from behind. You're seeing Batman and the Batmobile from behind. And you see the cape flowing there. I just really love how it looks. And another thing I like about the suit that I'm digging is the collar aspect that goes with the cape, and just below the cowl too. There's been some versions of the suit that had that. It reminds me a bit of, remember in the anime Gotham Knight, it was the third one where there is that suit or that Batman had that had the collar. It doesn't look exactly like that, but
I'm trying to remember it.
Has a sort of a feel to that. And even Gotham by Gaslight a little bit with how that cape looked too. It gives me a little vibe of that, which I think is going to look cool on screen. But yeah, seeing the Batmobile images was cool, but really my biggest takeaway from them was that I'm really digging this Batsuit now. At first, where I was kind of in between with that first reveal, but then from the set photos and now these official photos where you get to see the cape, the suit, the cowl, it's looking like a cool Batman design. And yeah, Robert Pattinson looking really great in that new Batman suit. And I just can't wait again to see more close-up officially released shots and just seeing him in action and in motion with the suit. But all signs are pointing toward it's going to be a unique but still a very cool look for Batman. And I just can't wait to see it in action.
Okay, I see it now. So it kind of comes in the front then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it could be interesting. I don't think we've seen that, right?
No, definitely not in live action.
Yeah.
And remember there were those rumors we were talking about how it was possible the suit could be the classic blue and gray? Doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
No.
So going for the dark gray and black, which is fine by me.
Didn't you say you wanted a blue bat suit? Blue and gray?
I think it would be cool in something different. I don't know how. It might be hard to pull off in live action. It would have to be a darker blue tone, definitely. But I still would want to see how that would be pulled off.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it looking exactly like the Adam West style, blue and gray.
Exactly. In fact, In fact, that was the kind of the first impression that I got from the new Batsuit is Adam West. Adam West Batsuit, yeah. Especially like
mainly the cowl, because I don't see how you could get that just from the armor of it, but maybe from the cowl in that first teaser video.
The cowl, especially like right by his nose.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, but yeah, I love this new Batsuit. I have to see it better lit, but I really like it.
Oh yeah, I'm digging it now. At first I was kind of in between, but I'm really liking it. I think the more that we see of it and that gets revealed where we see better shots of it, of him in the suit, it's probably going to look better and better the more that gets shown for it. So yeah, I can't wait. I mean, we're all geeking out, getting excited about these images and stills. And it's just really cool that Matt Reeves is doing this. He's taking the step ahead to get ahead of the game before all these leaked photos come out, which is probably why that first teaser video got revealed the week before those leaked images came out. And probably the same thing's going to happen with the Batmobile. Now that we got these shots, they'll probably be filming a lot now with the Batmobile, and more leaked stuff's going to come out. But just a cool way to get it. And it's just making me anticipate how amazing and excited it's going to be to get that first teaser trailer for this and seeing this stuff in action. It's going to be so cool. And I think if I were to guess, it'd probably be sometime in the fall, But maybe Warner Brothers would want to get the hype going for this and maybe do it during the summer, like officially 1 year before it comes out, just to kind of put out a short teaser, but maybe not much shown, kind of what they did for the Dark Knight trilogy. But regardless, it's going to be exciting once we do finally get that, because so far everything that's being released so far is shaping up to be a unique but still cool looking new Batman movie that we're going to get next year.
Yeah, just don't have multiple bat suits, that you're putting on throughout the movie.
Yeah. I mean,
think that's
when you
main...
do that from movie to movie, I think that's fine. But when you have multiple in one movie, I can understand where you're coming from. Where it's best probably to stick with one.
Yeah, you remember the Batman welder suit from Justice League? Yeah. I think he's only in that for like one scene.
Yeah, just the ending.
The ending. I thought it was before that when the Justice League shows up in the
the sewer battle.
No, it was in the sewer when the Justice League shows up. Like he's like welding something. If I'm remembering it correctly, I'm not.
I'm sure you haven't seen it that many times.
No, I have not. But yeah, that's it for our feature topic for this episode. Really excited for this new Batman movie.
Oh yes, I've been anxious to talking about it too.
I know.
After waiting so long.
I know. Thanks a lot, Tim, for going to Galaxy's Edge and having an extremely fun time. How dare you?
But now we got to talk about the first suit reveal and the Batmobile reveal, so we got to do it all in one.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Yeah, and plus too, because we didn't record, I had a lot of time, and I finally saw Knives Out, the Rian Johnson film. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, if it's kind of like a classic whodunit thing, but of course he switches it up, and Daniel Craig doing like a foghorn leghorn
really
accent. I mean, this accent is to the moon, Tim. It's crazy. I don't know why they just didn't make him British, but that's my only criticism of that movie. It's really good.
So is it one of those mysteries where I guess the actual identity of the killer was something you didn't see coming, or did a good job of not making it obvious?
No. They tell you who did it.
Like right away?
Pretty early on. Yeah. Maybe like, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes into the movie.
Oh, wow. So that's something different.
Yeah. And then the rest of the time is that person trying to not get caught and trying to, switch things around and stuff. So, yeah, you find out really early who it is, which I was really appreciative of.
I was going to say, that's kind of a different, but probably a good way to approach it, to have something different for these type of murder mystery films or whodunit films.
Yeah. So, yeah, I highly recommend Knives Out. Also, I saw Jojo Rabbit, the
Taika Waititi film, right?
Yeah. The Hitler Youth movie.
Heard that's really good too. I wanted to check that one out.
It's really, really good. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch a movie like that, but yeah, don't worry, it's a great movie. Scarlett Johansson's really good in it.
I forgot she was in that.
Yeah, she plays the kid's mom.
Okay.
Jojo Rabbit's mom.
Is that his nickname he goes by, or is that his actual name?
Yeah, yeah, because he was. It's kind of a dark scene, but he makes like he's all tough, and then they tell him to kill a rabbit, right? But then he doesn't, and he's like he lets the rabbit go, and so now they call him Jojo Rabbit. But great film. It's really funny. Kind of really sad also. Especially when you're dealing with the subject matter. But yeah, really, really good film. So
yeah, those are two movies I'm hoping hit streaming services pretty soon, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu. I know.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say I know Parasite's coming to Hulu. I think in April or May.
Oh yeah.
You called on that one, Dane, with it winning the Best Picture at
Oh
the
yeah.
Oscars.
Right. That's another one you really need to watch.
Yeah.
And don't learn anything about it.
I still stayed away from it, even though
Good.
there was a lot of talk about it after it won Best Picture. I was still trying to stay away from knowing exactly what happens in it.
Yeah, good. Don't if you plan on watching it, don't read anything about what's going on with that movie.
Yeah, I definitely plan to once it hits Hulu.
Yeah.
But
Also, Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor.
not a surprise, but still
Oscar.
awesome. Yeah.
And what is her name? I totally forgot.
The Best Actress winner?
No.
Or,
Hildur.
the composer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hildur Good daughter. Yeah, she won for the best original score.
Much deserved too, even though I was probably rooting for John Williams to take one more Star Wars Oscar for a score home, even though he only has one. Nice to get another one for the final one, but Joker had a great score. So
he only has one.
Yeah.
For what?
Not just one for Star Wars. I mean.
Yeah. I meant which? Movie?
A New Hope, of course, because how groundbreaking that was.
Yeah. I thought it would have been for Empire Strikes Back.
I do think A New Hope's probably the better score, in my opinion. But just for all the great, amazing new themes it introduced.
Yeah.
But also, what was cool in the Oscars too, besides seeing another actor win for the role of Joker, I just think that's so awesome that we got 2 Oscar-winning performances for this iconic character. It just speaks to what a great creation he was by Bill Finger and Jerry Robertson. And also, too, I liked when they were announcing the Best Adapted Screenplay category that Joker was nominated for, how we saw Bill Finger, Jerry Robertson, and Bob Kane mentioned as characters created by. Just cool to hear their names on that award show. So I geeked out about that.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Who won Best Actress?
Renee Zellweger for the Judy Garland movie, which I didn't even know there was a movie about that she played.
Yeah, I did. There was a Judy Garland movie?
Yeah, apparently there was. But
yeah.
Must have not seen any trailers or commercials for it, but because I wasn't aware there was one, just like you.
Me neither. Laura Dern won a Oscar.
Yep. And what are some of the other big winners?
Taika.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah.
Best screenplay, right?
Adapted.
Yeah, best adapted screenplay.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
know Rian Johnson was nominated for best original screenplay, but he didn't win that one. I forgot which one that. But
was he also nominated for Best Picture? No,
I think that was the only category Knives Out was nominated for.
Oh, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out once it hits streaming somewhere, hopefully soon.
Oh, good. It's good to know you're not one of those Star Wars fans.
No, I'm not one of those, because I really do like The Last Jedi a lot, even though there's some things I wish were done differently. And he's obviously a talented director, so
yeah.
But you know what movie I saw recently?
What is it?
I saw Sonic the Hedgehog.
Really? How was it?
It was really good. I know this isn't saying much, and I don't want it to speak to, the bar's so low, but easily the best video game movie ever. And it's actually been a good streak because I like Detective Pikachu too. And even though I'm not even really a Pokemon fan, it was just a good, different, unique type of movie that was based on a video game. But
really, it's that good?
I like it. It's definitely entertaining. I'm talking about Detective Pikachu here, but Sonic, I think, is in the same way where it did a good job with the source material and making it into a movie. I will say I wish they would have done more in the Sonic worlds from the game and more of the lore that the Sonic games have, instead of just kind of that typical cookie cutter fish out of water story where he's taken from his world and in our world. We've seen that before, but I think it's definitely going to get a sequel because it did great numbers and was well received. And the end credit scene definitely teased that that's probably what the sequel's going to be, more of Sonic's world. Because all that stuff looked great, but just the humor that Sonic had, the captured his character personality right, and just seeing him in live action with his speed and doing the stuff that you're able to do in video games with him was cool to see. And Jim Carrey in this movie, man, he was great. It was classic 90s Jim Carrey, which I've heard a lot before seeing it, but that's exactly what I got when I saw his performance as Dr. Robotnik. He was just the Jim Carrey hamming it up and just delivering funny lines and having funny reactions that only Jim Carrey can do. He was really entertaining in this one. So this all around is made for a fun, entertaining movie with Sonic. And they did the character justice, which they easily could have, ruined and almost did with that first design, which I will say I didn't hate initially, but the redesign was so much better and it just really felt like Sonic in live action. So yeah, it was entertaining. I enjoyed it as a Sonic fan from the very first game and loving some of the animated series. So it was cool to see a live action movie for him done well.
I totally forgot about that movie. That's Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's Sonic and Cyclops teaming up for a buddy comedy movie.
And speaking of Jim Carrey, I have this theory that since Batman Forever, right, he can't really do the wacky Jim Carrey anymore, right?
The Jim Carrey shtick, so to speak.
Yeah. Mm. Hold on. Wait, I mean, let me look up his.
Because that was in '95. He had to do a few movies after that. That was still kind of in the same vein, but he definitely moved away from that later on.
Okay, no, I'm lying. So, 95, same year, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, the sequel to Ace Ventura. And then Cable Guy,
that's right.
Liar Liar. And then it starts getting more serious, like The Truman Show, Man on the Moon. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, this definitely harkens back to something he would do in those early 90s Jim Carrey. And it was great seeing that again.
Yeah. So yeah, now we can move on to our news and discussion topics. First one is a big one, Tim.
Oh, yes. An unexpected surprise, and I can't wait.
Yeah, so there's going to be a new animated series comic book written by Paul Dini.
Yep, and Alan Burnett. And that's really the thing that has me most excited. Because they easily could have done a continuation in the Batman the Animated Series continuity with other writers, and I'd still be excited for it. But the fact that you got two of the four main creators and brains behind Batman the Animated Series working on this from a story perspective, that just makes it feel more real, so to speak, and that it is in the main Batman the Animated Series continuity. And it's going to be great because they're going to fill in some gaps where they're going to bring in classic comic characters that were never in the animated series into this comic and have it be in that continuity. And it's going to be interesting and exciting because we're going to get the Batman the Animated Series version of Jason Todd. And I'm really curious to see where this is going to fit in the timeline. Is it going to be before Tim Drake, like how it is in the comics, or after Tim Drake? Or, well, you know what? It's going to have to be before, because in this article that was announced over at Entertainment Weekly, it does say that the comic's going to take place before the traumatic flashback events in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which, of course, was the last time Tim was Robin. So apparently Jason is going to be before Tim Drake, just like in the comics. But I'm going to be curious to see how that's going to play in the timeline, because I was always under the impression that the transition from when Dick left to Tim was pretty short. So maybe they're going to expand on that, where there was a good period of time where Dick left as Robin and before Tim came into the picture. So, but it's going to be cool to see how they're going to work that into it. And again, coming from Paul Dini and Alan Burnett, it's going to be really cool to see what they're going to do with this type of story in the Batman the Animated Series continuity. And they even mentioned we're going to see Jason as Red Hood. They're going to bring other characters like Azrael into the mix, which we never seen before. And Paul Dini's kind of really teasing that up as far as his favorite story in this comic series. So there's some cool reveals and stuff that he says makes perfect sense given the lore of our series that he's really jazzed about in that Azrael story arc. So yeah, I can't wait for this. It's going to be cool to get new stories in the Batman the Animated Series continuity. It's going to be, I'm trying to look at the artist's name, because it's the same artist who did the other Adventures of Batman comics when those were going on in the 90s. Ty Templeton, he'll be continuing doing the arc, and it looks really good. It's in that classic Bruce Timm style. The first arc's going to be kind of dealing with Lex Luthor and a giant robot making some thefts that Batman's going up against. They have some artwork teased in the Entertainment Weekly article, and like I said, it's looking like that classic Bruce Timm style. So I'm really excited about this. It's going to be digital first. It's going to come out in April, and then it's going to be on comic shelves in May 6th. So I was talking about when the year began how wasn't really going to be getting much more DC comics because nothing's really exciting me, but this is exciting me. So I'll definitely be getting these issues as they come out and obviously talking about them and reviewing them once I do. So I really can't wait for this. And some of the covers they have revealed, they just look fantastic. Just seeing the Batman, the animated series designs and drawn with this great art, it just looks really, really cool. So yeah, all about this announcement has me really excited, and what's not to love about it? It's more stories in the Batman the Animated Series universe by the creators and introducing classic characters that never had the chance to be in the series, like Jason Todd, Azrael, and Deathstroke was another one they mentioned. So yeah, I can't wait for this. It sounds and looks really cool.
All right, and our second piece of news is that Dan DiDio is no longer co-publisher at DC.
This might sound mean, but finally. I was never the biggest Dan DiDio fan. Like, I think there was a lot of comic fans who felt that way. And I think it was long overdue for him to get away from being one of the co-publishers, because just some of his initiatives that, even going back to New 52 stuff, that was big for him. And obviously some of it worked and a lot of it didn't. But I think there had to have been an official statement for why he's no longer with DC, and if it's he stepped down, if he was fired. I think it was more kind of leaning towards it was the fired aspect. But I think some reports are saying a lot of it had to do with this new Generation 5 initiative they were planning, that whole revamp of the universe again, where it's going to take place years in the future, and there's going to be new younger characters in the roles of Batman, Superman, and all that, which, again, I said before how I was not excited about at all. It was one of the reasons why I'm not really getting much more DC comics anymore. So maybe that's something that is not going to happen with him being gone, and they'll do something like that, but scale it back a little bit where it's not a full-blown revamp again. And just hopefully these, I'm going to use the word, for lack of better words, gimmicks with these comics to get these events and more interest and eyes talking about it. It just gets tiring after a while, which we talked about to death numerous times. Rebirth was a success, but that kind of lost its steam a little bit with some more convoluted stories that were coming out. So I don't know what it's going to take to get everything, at least speaking for myself, to get me fully back and invested to multiple DC titles again. But hopefully, with more of a singular direction and approach, because right now Jim Lee is just the single publisher, and it sounds like that's how it's going to be for the foreseeable future. So it's going to be interesting to see what DC has plans going forward. But again, not to sound like a jerk or be mean, but it was time for Dan DiDio, past time for him to go, because this wasn't a fan of some of the stuff he did and the direction they were planning on going. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
for me, and I'm not saying it's Dan DiDio's fault. It was all of the, New 52 and then Rebirth, and then, I guess this new thing that you're talking about where it's like, it's the constant relaunch of books, and it's like, let's just stick with one and have adventures in that.
Just tell good stories, yeah.
Yeah, just tell good stories, and yeah. But I guess hopefully maybe they'll just stick to one storyline now that Dan DiDio isn't there anymore.
Or just less of these constant shakeups. I mean,
right.
Can't even count how many there have been, not full-blown events, but other shakeups that have happened in the course of, the last 10 years, or not even 10 years, since the New 52, because then you had that whole DCU, I think it was called, where it was Jim Gordon as Batman, and everything, the status quo was shaken up with other titles, the whole year of the villains thing going on. This year there was that other villain event, which is actually pretty good, Jeff Johns' story with I think it was called, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was where pretty much the villains had to save the day from the crime syndicate from Earth 3. But it was a cool story. I just can't remember the exact title of it right now. It's been a while since I read it. So just, constantly shaking things up where they don't need to in such short amounts of time, hopefully will now be lessened that Dan DiDio's not there, because I think it wasn't too much of a secret that he was the one who was always spearheaded that type of stuff and just wanted to do drastic changes to the whole universe. So it's going to be an interesting Comic-Con, that's for sure, for DC, what the announcements they're going to make there to see what the future's going to hold. Comic-Con. That's a good point, too.
If there is a Comic-Con this summer. So yeah, that's pretty much it for our show. No reviews, no emails. Just kind of a catching up thing.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back into the swing of things and more regular release schedule going forward. Yeah. If nothing drastic happens.
So yeah, just go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles at BatmanUniverse, Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311. I'll say it because you went to Galaxy's Edge, Tim.
Thank you. And I'll give you a happy early 311 day. As this episode goes live, the 311 day would be the day before. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, happy 311 day to everybody that likes 311.
Yes.
My Twitter handle is at Dane Says Banana. The show's Twitter handle is at Bat-Fans Podcast. You can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. Did I get everything, Tim?
I think you got it.
Okay. Well, look, we see at the end of every single episode. What do we say, Tim?
We love each and every one of you with all of our hearts from Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, yeah, I knew you guys had to say that.
I just had to.
We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.
Yeah.